It was good. I'm back. I know I was out for a couple of days. I needed that time, y'all. I needed that time. So I'm sorry. I'm going to make up for those days on Black History as well. But y'all seen the thumbnail review of this weekend's fight and the Bud Crawford's interview and some old stuff. I'm actually going to do a couple of, Black History moments because I missed those couple of days. We're going to use every day of February that we can, except Saturdays. I'm going to let that one go, but I took the rest of the week off. So before we get into any of that, though, y'all already know. First, we got to turn to. So here we go. Welcome back. I was over here jamming. Anyway, I had a few days off. I had to rejuvenate, get myself back together. I was going through some stuff. Boy, the swelling of it all, Lord. But I stuck to my goals for this year, which I mean, you can call it a New Year's resolution. I said, no matter what, I'm not gonna let them give me no steroids like prednisone and other types of steroids. Not the kind that's gonna beef you up or nothing, but steroids is good medicine. And then there's the bad side too. But the side that they give me is the good side. I mean, it'd be saving my life, but I promised I wasn't gonna go there and I wasn't gonna get it. Y'all let me know if y'all can hear me. Now, for all those who are watching in Facebook or just coming in, don't forget to like and subscribe as you step into the square circle. Lean on that leezy when you step into the heezy. So as always, I do a water check. I'm at 10 bottles, which is 80 ounces per day. I don't know why that is like my benchmark for this time of day, 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. I come on every day from Monday through Friday to 7:30 Eastern Standard Time if something is not going on. And Wednesday, I couldn't do it to y'all. I couldn't do it to myself because y'all would have saw all the agony. Y'all would have saw it. So I decided to bow out gracefully and just try to rejuvenate and get myself together. And I have. So I'm still hurting, but you can't see it, and I can power through it. So anyway, I want to say shouts out to Deacon 305. He said, "Salute, Miss T, 100." You know, um, thank you for coming in, Deacon. Welcome to the building, King. We do the water check. We do the water check. Maceo Golden is in the building. He said, "Hello, Miss T. How's it going?" It's going fine now, Maceo. Welcome to the building, King. Like I was just finished saying, you know, some of y'all gonna be coming in and coming in and coming in. Y'all saw the thumbnail review of this weekend's fights, and I'm going to talk about the elephant in the room, which is Bud Crawford's interview. Now, and some of you guys might not like, my perspective on it, and some of you might agree. But you know what? Hey, I respect all opinions. I hope you respect mine, and I ain't trying to ruffle no feathers. And once again, I apologize for not being here Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And I didn't even do my wellness show on Sunday. So, like I said, I stuck to my guns. No steroids for me, even though the pain was immense. The pain was immense. It wasn't so much in my face. It was in my arm. I mean, the swelling of it all. You guys have no idea. But, that's what Miss T go through. But it's all right. I'm a champ. I'm going to power through. I'm going to make it through. I'm proud of myself because I didn't take them drugs that they was trying to give me. But I was popping Tylenol like a mother. I was popping Tylenol like crazy. I was eating them things like M&Ms. So let's just jump into it. The Kell Brook fight. Now, Kell Brook and Amir Khan fought this weekend. And the crazy thing is, I had my times mixed up. I forgot that they were fighting over there in London or England or whatever. And so I'm sitting up here just waiting patiently till about 9 o'clock my time, standard time. And of course, by the time I got on E-Thriller's page, I was like, oh, the fight happened. So I had to go back and watch it, but I was able to do that. Again, if you guys can't hear me, I got new equipment too. And I've been playing with it all weekend, trying to figure out how it works. I'm hoping that the sound and the quality of sound is better. So you guys let me know as time go on. Can you hear me clearly and everything? Put a thumbs up in the chat or just tell me we hear you, Queen. Okay, so Kell Brook and Amir Khan fought. And it was very interesting. Now, they always said that those two had a rivalry, kind of like on the order of Pacquiao, Floyd, or right now Spence and Crawford. Is long overdue. It was long awaited, and this, that, and the other. But us here in the States, we ain't know. Most of us didn't know shit about it. We didn't really care. The first time I heard of Kell Brook is when he fought Shawn Porter, and when I seen him fight, I was like, wow. There's a part of me to believe that Porter edged it out because he was the champ. But he did well in that fight. He did very well. He strikes me as a person who really have mastered the fundamentals. And I mean, he beats people with the fundamentals. So like everybody who thinks that you need to have tricks in the bag or you need to do all this extracurricular, he's living proof that you don't need to if you master the fundamentals. He's an excellent fighter. Amir Khan is also an excellent fighter who brought notoriety because he came over to the States and put his bid in so many years ago. And he fought some notable opponents and won. He won what's the dude name that then fell out now? Maidana. He beat Maidana. Maidana was a force to be reckoned with back then. But Maidana, to me, smoke and mirrors overall, but he can hit hard, and he grimy as a motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? But Amir Khan proved that speed and precise punching, speed kills. You know what I'm saying? And before you can even throw your first punch, he would have thrown like 4 or 5 punches. And so that was his claim to fame. And, Amir Khan, when the younger he was, the faster he was. Of course, when you get older, your speed diminishes over time. But even now at this age, he's still one of the fastest. I mean, if not he's probably the fastest welterweight, but he's slacking in other areas. Now everybody called Amir Khan chinny, and they had good reason to call him chinny. But that's what I was waiting to see. Could his chin hold up? Birdman is in the building. What's popping, King? He says, salute at Deacon 305 and salute family. Salute to you. So my interest in this fight, for real, was just, could his chin withstand the pressure? And for that matter, can Kell Brook's eyes withstand the pressure? That's what I was looking for. The reason why I was interested in, Amir Khan per se, is because he was, fighting under the tutelage of Bomac and them, Team Crawford's team. And I wanted to see what can they improve something. Now, before this fight ever got announced, or when I found out, I should say when I found out he was training with Bomac and them, Birdman says, salute at Miss T, salute to you, King. I think I just fundamentally believe, and others can believe what they want, that you cannot train the chin. You either got it or you don't. You also cannot train a heart. You either got that or you don't. So some things, I don't know how much more you can improve upon. If a person is chinny, they're just chinny. Maybe you can improve on how well they take the punch, just slightly, but not much. If they chinny, they chinny. So I wanted to see if Bomac and them had a remedy to his chin. Kell Brook, I'm a believer in anything from the neck up, you need to properly heal. And I mean properly heal. Like, you need to take a lot of time. And I've said as much about Errol Spence over this past year. Like, he really need to wait for a year. But hey, I'm just T, speaking what I think. And I respect the fact that Errol says, hey, I'm a warrior. I can do this. I don't need that much time, and this, that, and other. And that's him. But I think, just personally, and I could be wrong, I think he's gonna learn to regret that. That's just me. Now, there is some speculation that he might not even have an eye injury. I don't know, but we'll see. We'll see when Ugas and him meet up, how bad that eye injury was, or if he can recuperate, because it's not against Errol Spence to say that. This is one of them things that it doesn't matter if it was me, you, or anybody else. When you sustain those kind of injuries, it takes a while. Yeah, your eye can heal up and this, that, and the other, but there's stuff behind the scenes is going on that needs healing too. WJ Luckett is in the building. He says, salute Queen T. Salute to you, King. And Andrew Charles is in the building. Salute Miss T. Salute to you too, King. As I said earlier, Andrew, Birdman, and WJ, I was ill. So I apologize for missing 3 days. And I didn't do the wellness show. For those of you who come to my wellness show on Sunday, I didn't do that. The swelling of it all, I couldn't hide the pain, y'all. I would not been able to hide the pain. So I spared y'all, and I spared myself. I didn't want to waste nobody's time, because I would have been like in here, like, that's all I was doing all day, every day. I couldn't take it. But I did maintain my goal, which was to get off those steroids that they like to give me for swelling. And those steroids are good. They're good medicine, but they got side effects that I'm trying to not have to deal with. So the side effects don't make you bulky and He-Man and nothing like that. It's like 2 types of steroids. These are actually good steroids. So I don't want to, put a bad name or moniker on steroids as a drug, because they do help save lives. So as I'm saying, I'm looking at the fight. My interest was just to see how all of this was going to play out. Man, Kell Brook beat the fool out of him. You hear me? Kell Brook beat the fool out of this dude. And you can tell in people's demeanor where they come from, like what time it is with them. when he said at that press conference, I'm gonna knock the spark out your ass. I put a little stank to it, but he basically said, I'm gonna knock the spark out of you. I knew then that Kell Brook wasn't nothing to be played with. You know what I'm saying? Kell Brook looked good. I mean, excuse me, fellas, as I'm talking about how this man look. I ain't doing it in no way that's, sexual or anything. When I say he looks good, like it's almost like his body is like a prototype of what you think a body should look like. I mean, the muscles, striations, and everything that's like strategically placed on him. I know it's all natural. That is like one of the perfect specimens I've seen. Like take off his head and then just say model. You could model his body off of you could say this is what we want to aspire to. He has a great physique, and he was well put together. That night he didn't look drained. His cheeks wasn't sunk in. I didn't think he looked that drained when he fought Crawford. I didn't think he looked drained when he fought Errol Spence either. WJ Lucky said, I want to see Brook fight Thurman now. That would be interesting, King. That would be very interesting. That would be an interesting fight. I wouldn't mind seeing that either. In fact, I wouldn't mind seeing Kell Brook run through the second tier of the welterweights, like Boots, Ortiz, Thurman, Conor Ben, shit. I wouldn't mind seeing him beat all them motherfuckers. And like I don't want to see him. And again, I'm thinking I'm hearing the mic go in and out. I don't want to see him get in the way of Spence and Crawford. Y'all know that. Like none of us, we don't give a fuck about nothing else. We need Spence and Crawford to happen. So everybody else gonna have to take a chill pill until that fight happens. But after that fight happens, if he want to run it back or they want to run it back, hey, I'm game for that too. But not before. Andrew said Brooks was in great shape and had a proper attitude. He looked like he still takes fighting seriously. Indeed. He proved something that night. He proved that it wasn't him. It wasn't him. It was Khan. It was always Khan. Like if he say Khan was ducking, see, I don't know because we wasn't following them like talking about it. I give Khan one thing. He tried to make his bones in the States. You automatically gonna be known in your own, country and everything if you come over to the States. Because if you get some notoriety in the States, that's going to trickle down to where you from automatically. So Khan had the popularity. Look how much Khan was getting paid, which, they let us know kind of beforehand. Well, like after the deal was signed, of course. Am I coming loud and clear to y'all? 'Cause I got this new equipment. So let me know if I'm splotchy or anything. We know that Khan was like I said, popular here. And he's had some notable fights and he was a champion. But Brook came over here, got a belt, and he kind of went back over there. So some of the and when they sell out these stadiums and these arenas, we got to take into consideration that their fights don't cost like the fights cost over here. They're not spending hundreds of dollars. They spending $30, $40. It's a night out. It's a movie night in a sense. So of course they're gonna fill up their stadiums and this, that, and other. Even their pay-per-view is like under $20. They're equivalent to like our pay-per-view. I wonder if they use closed circuit TV over there when they do those pay-per-view. Say loud and clear, cool. Yeah, so they had 22,000 people in the stadium. We know if you judge Kell and judge Amir for what they can fill up over here, you would probably put your money on Amir Khan filling up a place, better than Kell Brook. But so he was the A side, right? He was the A side. And y'all know how I feel about the money being a factor in A and B side, because let's face it, if Errol Spence lose to Ugas, is he no longer the A side? I mean, he don't have the hardware no more. I give him the A side because he has all the hardware. I give him that. For whoever he faced, he has multiple belts, whereas Terrence and Ugas has one. But that's all I give him. Like, I don't care about the money part because, you know, we're like using his benchmark as the marker, and there was a marker before him set by Floyd and them. And hell, we can look at Deontay and them. They don't. None of those guys in the welterweight have even come close to like 500,000 and up. So, I just don't get off into the money part of it per se. But it's a combination of factors you got to factor in. Who's the A side or B side or whatever. You never heard Kell and Khan arguing about that so much. Kell didn't give a damn. He called it what you like. He was like, I'm putting smarts in you. I can come out first. I can be the B side. I don't care. You know what I'm saying? Because when I put this ass whooping on you, redemption is the word. Andrew said fights in UK way more affordable, and it ain't a thing for them to travel an hour or two to see them. Yep. Because it's like a date night. It's like movie night. Here in America, we can fuck out $40 or $50 a week. You know what I'm saying? That ain't nothing. $20. Like, if your pay-per-view was $20 or less, we will support probably every fight that come on. But nah, America got to be greedy, and then they not giving us the fights that we want. So a lot of us are opting out of paying to see their fights. It is what it is. And this fight, all the PBC fights, I still stand by what I said. I'm not buying anymore until the Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence fight happen. I'm not buying no more. I don't care how they try to sell it or whatever. I don't care what they try to promise. I'm not believing in nothing. I believe it when I see it. I'm on my Ronald Reagan shit. Trust but verify. So, yeah, Kell whooped that ass, basically sending him to retirement. And that's ass. That's an ass whipping when you be like, well, I guess it's time to hang the gloves up. Kell said, I tried to told you. Now let's talk about, did his chin hold up? His chin slightly improved. I wouldn't call it holding up, but it's slightly improved. Because Khan, once you connect on him, he gone to sleep. He gone to sleep instantly. And this time he was able to, catch himself and, not let it be too detrimental. He was able to go some rounds, but you saw that it was just a matter of time from the first bell. He had him doing the stanky leg in the first round. Kell knew it was just a matter of time. Khan did too. He didn't even look steady. From as soon as the bell rang, all that moving around and shit, his previous fights, he looked more steady to me in those previous fights throughout his career than he did that night. He looked like a person, well, when that bell rung, he was like, what the hell have I gotten myself into? But I give it to him. He didn't try to quit. Now, it has been alluded that Kell got some quit in him, or Khan got some quit in him, because look what Bud did to them. And I'm going to say, yeah, they quit a little bit because Bud made them quit. He just that special. He beat them that bad that they wanted to quit. Khan didn't want to quit that night. They had to save him. DJ is in the building. Was Poppy King? He said, I had zero faith that Amir Khan's chin will hold up over 12 rounds. I was just trying to see if Bomac and them actually had a remedy to a chin, which I didn't think they would. I don't think nobody would. Either you got a chin or you don't. I was also trying to say, it's been years, so I don't know how many years it's been since Terrence and Kell fought. Was that It's been 2 years or a year and a half. I wanted to see how well his eye was going to hold up. Khan looked it better. He just wasn't listening to Bomac. He really wasn't. Bomac was pretty much not screaming at him, but like, yo, dude. And Khan, did you see how he looked after the fight? Oh, he was taking an ass whooping. DJ said all UK fighters got quit in them. Indeed. Bomac is overrated to me. Is he? Is he, King? I like Bomac. I would like to see him get healthier. That's all. But I like Bomac. I'm gonna tell you who I think is the best trainer though of all time, or just period. In my lifetime, and that's Floyd Mayweather Sr. and Roger Mayweather. I don't think nobody else could really touch them. When I tell you, they seem like they were encyclopedias to boxing. Like they just knew the old school, the new school, the new dynamics. They knew everything. They were innovators in how they trained and what they were speaking on. I mean, when I listen to the advice that Floyd Sr. would give in the corner, I'd be like, God damn, this dude, he on another level. And I really don't think no fighter, no trainer can really touch that dude, period. He should be a Hall of Famer trainer if he ain't already. I might be late to that. Emmanuel Stewart for me, Miss T. I feel you with that one. Rest in peace, Emmanuel Stewart. Yeah, I feel you. He was another one. I don't like his nephew, Sugar Hill. I'm not a fan of him. I think he knows boxing, but yeah, whenever you start looking for shortcuts and you're engaged with the cheating and the buffoonery and shit, hey, you must ain't had it all in the first place. Then I don't think there's no better trainer than Floyd Sr. and Roger Mayweather, and I think they equal in their abilities and talents as trainers / boxers. Number one, they're specific. They can plan for everything that can happen in that ring, and the proof is in the pudding. Floyd Mayweather. So, not Freddie Roach. Who else be training? I don't feel that way about Derek James, Bomac, Rodney Shields. These are great trainers, but not compared to Floyd Sr. We gotta give Floyd Sr. his props. The conclusion was that Amir Khan's chin did not hold up, as predicted by DJ and others. His chin did not hold up. And I'm gonna put the link in the chat, because that's basically what I was tuning in to see. I really didn't care about their rivalry or anything like that. They made it interesting with their press conferences, their final press conference. They made it very, very interesting. It made me like, let me get into that. DJ, I got you Thursday too, because I watched Bellator this weekend. Ooh. I don't know none of the names, but I looked at you just have to point me in the right direction. But I was like, ooh. WJ Lucky say, I say to hell with Sugar Hill Stewart, just like I say to hell with Mark Breland. I feel you, King. I feel you. Mark Breland in his day was an excellent fighter. Like a lot of people have a problem with the fact that Deontay fired him, but I don't have no feelings either way. I don't hate Mark Breland, but when you work for somebody, let's keep it simple. You work for that somebody, and they have the ability to fire you. If you don't have the ability to fire who works for you, then what is that? It's just like what I tell people. If you ask a question, the question can't be yes all the time. The answer, it can be yes or no. Otherwise, is it really asking the question? That's how I look at it. Mark Breland went against the grain, and Deontay is the boss, so he could hire and fire. Everybody will bring in D's, you know, his coach D's or whatever. I can't remember his name. I want to say Rick D's. I think that's a disc jockey. But I don't know. Maybe D's thread the needle more carefully than Breland did. And Breland has said, I never gave him water. Did an interview saying that, and clearly by the tape. So, I mean, I'm not mad at Deontay for firing him. It is what it is. Yogi is in the building. Was popping, Queen? Hey, Miss T, stopping by to show support. I feel you, Queen. Thank you. But yeah, the chin didn't hold up. Kell, I held up because Khan did hit him in the face. And when you have those type of injuries, you're gonna have hesitation. It's just human nature. You're gonna have hesitation when you hurt yourself because you will see that you're not as invincible. I mean, you're getting older. You done broke some shit. You're not as invincible no more. So there's gonna always be hesitation. And when I say that about Earl Spence, I know people don't like to hear that, but it's true. He's not invincible. Now that he had that kind of eye injury, look for him to hesitate sometimes. It's only human nature. I don't even say that as a negative to him. It's human nature. DJ say, I like what Sugar Hill is doing with Nico so far, but he signed with the Ops. Yeah. DJ, man, you be thinking the same way. We be thinking the same way, yeah. I see improvement with Nico. Remember, DJ, when we went to that fight in October last year? Don't you see improvement from October last year to December? And then, I don't know what he gonna do going forward. Miss T, Shakur and Valdez fight. You going? Is that in Atlanta? If it's in Atlanta, maybe. I can't be sitting around Shakur Stevens' family no more. I can't go through what me and Carmen went through the last time. I can't because it's a distraction. If I go to the fight, I just want to see the fight. I'm not there to make no love connection. DJ said no Vegas. Oh no, Shakur ain't there yet to get me on the plane. He ain't there. Bud can get me on the plane though. Nico Walsh, that poor kid gonna get embarrassed eventually. It's inevitable. Yep. No shade towards him, but unless they pump the brakes, it's gonna happen. You see, they strategically slow walking his ass, Andrew. I agree with you, but you see that they strategically slow walking him because look at who he fought. He was supposed to win. Now this last fight that he had, it was a little bit more challenging, but he outdid the dude. I give it to him. I think he won all three of his fights. But look who he was fighting. And the dude be like, listen, everybody likes Muhammad Ali. Hands down, right? Of course, we're going to like and love his family too, okay? But in life, y'all, we ain't giving nobody shit because you attach to somebody family-wise or whatever, That's like me giving my children benefits that I personally get that they don't get because I did my 20 years in the military. That's not how it works. It don't, just translate over to them or, just fall or trickle down to them. They get some benefits and they have a shelf life. I don't have a shelf life with my benefits. But that's how Nico and them carrying it, even though they saying and they saying it like they not. And I'm not picking on Nico and everything. I wish him well. But what you just said, Andrew, you need to pump the brakes. You need to pump the brakes, cut the shit. DJ said at Andrew Charles is slowing cooking him like a roast. He's still fighting for a round. Exactly. Mundo. And then when they weighed in on the Terrence Crawford suit, that was in bad taste. These fighters gotta learn. They gotta know when to hold them and know when to fold them, and know when to walk away and know when to shut the fuck up. They really do. Nico, you ain't put a dent in shit yet to even be speaking on nothing. And it's not a hit against you. You're gonna get constructive criticism. You're not gonna get a pass because you're Muhammad Ali's grandson. You're just not. Okay? You cannot. There's a guy out there that like to think of himself as Muhammad Ali. I forgot his name, but hell, he looked more like Muhammad Ali than you do, Nico. And I know that don't mean nothing. That for all we know, you know, Muhammad was landing low and spreading it wide. You know, he could be a grandson of Muhammad. Who knows? Because he looked like his ass. He really do. Don't. That shit that matter. Yeah, it matters. It's the optics. It's entertainment. When people look at you, Nico, not being funny, people gonna say, who that white dude? They're not gonna be like, oh, Muhammad, I see the resemblance. And I'm not denying that you are Muhammad Ali's grandson, but I'm just saying, human nature, human thought. Best pugilist is in the building. Salute to the queen, Miss T. Salute to you too, King. DJ say, yeah, you don't speak on another man's money ever. That's law in pro sports. Yeah, that should be that, DJ. I totally agree, and that should be with the layman's, like all of us. Like, since when do we speak on each other's money? I'm not counting DJ pocket. DJ just asked me. He said, "You going to the Shakur fight?" He said, "Miss T, how much money you got? Can you afford it? You know, how much, what you need?" And he didn't do none of that. He just asked me, was I going? That's how you talk to people. You don't get into the weeds of how much money they got, what they should be doing, trying to get money and this, that, and that. It's in bad taste, y'all. It's bad taste. It's like improper. You know, is not proper etiquette. Macadocious Mac of the South is in the building. He said, salute the lovely and beautiful Madam Queen Miss T. Salute to you too, King. Andrew said, Nico said out his own mouth that they were pushing him not after this last fight, but the one before. He had some irony. Again, it's out of respect. I try not to call these people tomato cans, but I'm gonna say no names because he was supposed to win these fights. They are truly slow walking him. That's just how it's coming off to me like that. DJ said, Kell Rivera 135 from the DR. Kell Rivera. Who is? Oh, that's his next fight. See, I don't even know who that is. Case in point. Andrew Charles say they could at least stop with the fake Ali chants on the speakers during this ring walks and let the kids settle in. Yeah, a hint to the wise should be sufficient. You know, from your lips, Andrew, to Nico's, to God's ears, out God's mouth to Nico's ears. Or maybe you can, from your lips to Nico's ears. They should stop it. Nico. If you ever watching this, or anybody who know Nico, you're doing yourself a disservice with all that. You need to stop. Because you're not him. You don't even look like him. You said it once, we know. Now go in there and get it from the mud. That's going to make us put some spec on it. Macadocious Mac of the South said, at Deacon 305, at Birdman, salute my brothers and kings. DJ said, at Andrew Charles, yeah, by keeping high on the top ranked stars, that's the push he's getting. But he's only had 4 pro fights. He's nowhere near ready. Exactly. And he ain't even fighting 8-rounders. Not alone 12. You said, no, Mikhail pronounced Michelle. Okay. Michelle Rivera is the 135-pounder that looks like Ali. Oh, he's from the DR. Okay. Gotcha. He do, don't he? That dude say he reincarnated now. I don't know about reincarnated because I thought you had to be like, Muhammad Ali would have had to pass and then you would have had to been born. But you was living, I think Michelle was living before Muhammad Ali passed. So I don't know about the reincarnated, but definitely looked like the cat. He definitely looked like him. And he can fight. Michelle can fight. So he's more believable. But what y'all thought about I said what I thought about this Kell Brook and Amir Khan. I don't think Amir Khan stood the test of time with his chin. I mean, I think he got slightly better because he didn't right away cave in and fall out. I won't say he quit, but he couldn't take that shit. And his face is evidently clear. There's the evidence that he couldn't take it. Oh my God, did he get his ass whooped? You know what I'm saying? But he still has a chin problem. And he kind of did an interview where he alluded to the fact that he's taking him back to the house. Kell Brook knew, like he knew the back of his hand, that he was going to put spark to his ass and beat him, and he did. And Kell feel like he answered the age-old question that they had in the UK, not us in the States, that he could whip his ass. Now, Kell, what you need to do is you need to do an American run. Because you're gonna be at the level you at in England, and that's why you was mad at Amir in the first place. Because Amir has sense enough to know to bring his ass over here and get some notoriety. You need to do it too, and you could get it. You could get it. Fighting like, do y'all think Kell can, I heard some of you guys say him and Keith Thurman, that's a good fight. What about him and Boots? I think that's a good fight. And him and Virgil and whoever else is at the top up there. Tell him and Conor Benn. Yeah, Ali just passed 6 years ago. Yeah, this dude, he was alive when Ali was alive. That was a thorough ass whooping. Yes, Danny Garcia versus Kell Brook. Line it up. Yup. Hey, Danny, don't leave the division too soon. Get in there with Kell. That would be a good one. You know why that would be a good one? Because Danny is a counterpuncher. I ain't gonna take nothing from Danny. Danny can hit hard, and Danny can take a punch. And Danny throws when you throw. So it's like, who gonna fall down first? Danny Garcia just said in December he wanted the winner of Kell Brook versus. Hey, line that shit up. I know we want to see it. Everybody want to see that one, right? Hey, if you came in the building, lean on that Leezy when you came into the Heezy. Hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already done so when you step into the square circle. Don't reckless eyeball from the peripheral. Come on in. Andrew say Brooks might end up fighting Taylor, but there are some good American matchups he can make. I don't want look. I don't know. Am I wrong for this, y'all? I really don't care about no damn Josh Taylor. Like, how y'all feel about him? I mean, I don't care about him. And honest to God, I really thought Prograis beat him. And I'm not just capping for the American. I'm just saying, when you go over there, that's what makes Errol Spence' victory over Kell Brook so remarkable. Because he went over there and took it off his ass. I mean, and part of me before that fight, I was like, don't do it, Errol. They gonna get you. See, that doesn't apply in my opinion. I haven't seen it yet. That fighters come from other places into America and they just guarantee that America is not gonna do you right. I don't see that. But I see it everywhere as you go to Canada. If you go to Australia, if you go to Europe, that very may well be something that happens. Later for going over there. WJ Lucky say yes, Brook versus Danny Garcia will be a good one. Sir Antbo is in the building. Was Poppy King? Salute Miss T and chat. Salute to you too, King. DJ said at 154, Miss T, Danny has hinted at moving up, and that weight cut to 147 is rough for Kell Brook now. You think so, DJ? He looked pretty good. It was 149. Danny and him don't have a belt, so they can do a catch weight. You know what I'm saying? And nobody cares about Taylor. You're right on that. But he's a legit champ and he wants to move up. Well, he can move his ass up. I mean, I don't know who he's supposed to be fighting, but if he come up there and disrupt some shit, I'm gonna flip the table on Josh Taylor. Y'all heard the latest. Errol Spence said, I don't know who fight he was at, but he got in the ring and he said, after he's done with Ugas, he's definitely going for the other belt. That's how he said it. He didn't say, I'm going for Terrence. Not that I heard, and I could be wrong or whatever. And there's nothing bad. I'm just trying to be accurate when we talking about them two, because I know how temperatures flare. Y'all can't be no more madder than me about the current situation and how boxing be going. Because I be feeling like I'm tired of this shit. This is bullshit, Exactamundo all the time. I'm tired of this shit. Tired of this shit. So I try to be careful on what I'm saying and the words that they say, because every little word they say means everything. And for the record, I do not hate Errol Spence. I don't hate him, but the climate of it all, it felt like you got to choose between the two. And if I got to choose, I'm choosing Terrence. But it don't mean that I can't say I hate him. Hate is a strong word, but I know the climate out there, a lot of other people can't say that. They actually don't like his opponents or who he about to face. And I never understood like putting your opponents down. Like, please, 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 to all these fighters, look at what Floyd used to do. Once you sign the contract, the Floyd was nice. You get more flies with honey. He was nice in the beginning. And then once you signed the contract, he sold the fight. It was the back and forth banter. He talked shit or whatever. Once the fight was over, he treated the man with dignity. Because I wanted him to just fucking go ham on motherfucking Conor McGregor, but he didn't. And when I look at it, I was like, he's being diplomatic. He's giving the man his dignity. There's certain things you could do to certain people, men in general. Y'all men in here, correct me if I'm wrong. Y'all don't like to be bad. Y'all don't like y'all dignity stripped or your ego and your pride stripped. And one way to do that is to talk about money, or like you broke, or you demean your character or devalue you. I mean, these things can set any man off. And Floyd knew that. He knew that. He was on his Teddy Roosevelt shit. Walk softly but carry a big stick. DJ said Josh Taylor thinks he wants Bud Crawford. Yeah, he thinks he wants him. He think he got all these tricks. He's a grimy fighter. And that's a nice way to say dirty, but like acceptable dirty, because they all be dirty. All of them. Y'all know if I see it in one and I'm seeing it's across the board, like I'm not arguing or anything about the dirty tactics like elbows, but I will go ham on a knee. I do go ham on nut digging. I do go ham when you take a banned substance. That's different. But the elbow, shit, that's grimy. But they all do it. It's one of those type things. It's a moot point. Andrew Charles, I never heard him say the word definitively or say Crawford's name, but he did suggest he was going after the final belt after Ugas. Indeed, Andrew, that's what I heard. That's why I say I have to be careful when I'm speaking about what Earl says or even Crawford says. He said both Crawford and Spence have made statements recently that make me think there is still hope for the fight, though. I'm seeing that. That's why I said I let the dust settle, and I said I was going to speak on that tonight. But I'm going to speak on that last because, I don't want to be misconstrued. And it's a message to Bud Crawford, too. Hey, it's Team Crawford over here. So, I'm going to get back to that when I talk about his interview, the things that I picked up, the nuggets that I picked up from the interview. If y'all in the building, make sure y'all hit the like button. Come on. Hit that like button. That number go up and down. And then when I get off, it's a whole lot of y'all been in here reckless eyeballing. Stop that shit. Come on in. Hit the like button. Help me get my algorithms up. Come on, if you like what I'm saying or don't like what I'm saying, hit the motherfucking like button. Lean on the leasy when you're in the heezy. Or if you listening to us in the house, hit the lazy. How hard is that? Okay. So some of y'all weighed in on y'all conclusion, but shout outs to Kell Brook. I don't think his career is over. I think he got some more fights left in him. That dude is he's a perfect specimen, y'all. He really is. He really is a perfect specimen. The way his body looked, and again, I'm not talking from, I'm not talking from that perspective. I'm talking from the perspective that he do look like a prototype of how you should build your body. Like, dude, got a perfect specimen. And I'm looking for wear and tear. I'm looking for some kind of defects or something that's gonna let me know, oh, you over your time. It's a stretch for you. That dude look as good as any 25-year-old. And the beautiful thing about Kell Brook, that nigga can beat you with fundamentals. That's what makes Earl's and Bud's defeat of him even more special. For real. Andrew Charles says, smash the like. Let's go. 100%. Exactly. Smash that lazy. Come on now. Stop being difficult. Smash that motherfucker. WJ Lucky said, I'm hearing Bud has signed a multi-fight deal with the PBC. This could be why both Bud and Spence are talking the way they are talking now. Could be. The PBC ain't getting none of my money until them two fight. Now, once they fight, the floodgates will be back open. I can't tell y'all what to do. I can only tell you what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. If you feel like I feel and you feel like what I'm saying is relevant, the more the merrier. Come on and jump on that train. But if you don't, to each his own. That's why I wore the uniform for 20 years, because it's freedom of choice, freedom of speech, freedom of expression, freedom of thoughts. I believe it then and I believe it today. That would be interesting, WJ Lucky, if he did sign that. Because what could he do? What could he do? Especially after that Tim Smith interview, what could he do? But I do want to duck off into this part, and y'all tell me what y'all think. Now, I'm gonna put the link in the chat again. But this is important to boxing, period. Me as a boxing coach, I know the importance of getting in shape and picking your right weight and everything. Boxers have weight problems. Like women in the past, we used to have like very, very big, significant weight problems. Because I'm gonna tell you a little story time. Okay. So I remember being very young in my early 20s, and I was messing with this guy, and I liked the guy a lot. And he liked me, as far as I could tell. But the dude would say things that made me cringe. He would say shit like, if you over 115, I can't fuck with you, basically devaluing any woman that weighed over 115. Now, anybody with some common sense will know that don't make sense at all. There's no way you're going to be like 5'10", which I was, weighing 115. That shit just don't happen. And I used to look at him like, maybe he's playing. Maybe he's joking. You know what I'm saying? I wish I would have uploaded one of my pictures so you can see how small I was back then. And you can, it's just a picture like how much you see of me right now. I was at the pool. You can see the picture, but you'll see how small I was. And he would say that all the time, and it would make me cringe. Now, one thing I can never do, I can't, and to the shout out to the women who can't, I can't fake the fun. If I know you don't care for me or like me, I ain't laying next to you. I'm not even gonna fake it. And another thing I don't do, I don't bring men home to meet my family if they're not significant. You would have died for 6, 8 months, a year, and they still wouldn't be significant. because you don't know their intent. You don't know where it's going or this, that, and the other. And sometimes as a female, you can be with somebody because you like the company, you like whatever. It took me years to learn how to put people in categories and put them like in a box and take them out when I'm ready to play with them and then put them back in the box. Some of that went over some of y'all head, but it took me years to learn that. But back then, I didn't know that. I just know that I liked this guy, and he kept saying things that I found very derogatory to women in general, but especially to me, because I was like, what happens? What if we made it? What if we actually decide to be a couple? And he went to a doctor's appointment with me, and I stepped on the scale, and he clearly see I don't weigh no goddamn 115 or 100 or 105 or whatever. What are you gonna do then? Am I done? Do I have no value? Do you dismiss me? Do you get rid of me? Or what if we had a kid and you went to the appointments and you be like, and then I'm going out of my way to try to fake like it's the kid's weight, it's a baby weight that's making me this happy. But then he looking at me sideways. Look, I can't deal with shit like that. I can't fake it. So I knew right then and there that it was gonna be over. I knew it. I knew it was gonna be over. And it's like sometimes as a boxer, you have to know how to properly pick your weight. And I'm talking about this shit because, I'm giving that backdrop, or this is the first thing I thought of when we saw Jaime Miguel faint, still at the weigh-in. He fainted. Now, I know people can ask, well, why they let him fight? Because my first instinct was like, get this dude to the hospital and get him hydrated. And I'm going to tell you, youth saved his ass. Because he had some considerable age on him. He could have had a stroke. He could have had a heart attack. I know people's like, that's way overboard. But it's not. You cannot fuck around with being dehydrated. You just can't. That's why y'all hear me talk about the water check every day. I'm telling you, sometimes you can get your body in a state of constant or a chronic state of dehydration. Like even if you drinking water, it ain't gonna work. Like when people skip their blood pressure pills, they skip them, and then all of a sudden now they want to start taking them and your blood pressure still sky high. That's because you allowed yourself to get conditioned to get in a chronic state, and it's gonna take a lot to take you out of it. The problem is between you getting back on track, you could be out of here. You could die from dehydration because what you depleting is your electrolytes. And we talking minerals now. We talking potassium, magnesium, the proper amount of sodium. We talking all this stuff. If you deplete your potassium and magnesium, heart attack, I don't care how old you are. You could be 10, 15 years old, 20. I don't care how old you are. Why you think they make electrolytes for kids? This is what this is what dehydration can lead to. And so by him fainting, I was reminded, oddly enough, I don't know why certain things pop in my head. I was reminded of when I was messing with that guy and he kept thinking, I guess he thought I was 115. And meanwhile, and in between time, a bitch was about 145. WJ Lucky said, what branch were you in, Queen? I spent 4 years in the Marines. Hoorah! I was Navy. Shipmate was good. Andrew Charles said, I can get dehydrated and I'm gonna need a few days. Yeah. You have no idea what come with that dehydration shit. Dehydration can have something to do with your absorption problem too, and you'll know you have an absorption problem. The easiest way to know is if they ever tell you you're vitamin D deficient. But listen, I can talk about that. That's gonna be this Sunday's show. But because I get deep off into that, I had that problem. And that's the problem with not knowing how your body's supposed to properly function. And this is why on one of our grown women's talk, we was talking about what we should bring back to the school system. I really do believe from like 6th grade up, they should have a class that they give every year to teach basic functioning of how your body works as a human. Because when I got older and they tell me I had to get my thyroid gland taken out, I didn't even know what a thyroid gland did outside of metabolism. And it do way more than that. Way more than that. I didn't even know what I was getting into. I'm just saying, oh, they're the doctors, they would know better. And I was like, okay. And sometimes I regret that shit to this day because there was ways to fix it. But, hey, when you don't know, when you know better, you do better, right? So he got dehydrated for sure. He didn't even look like himself. I was like, he could be almost unrecognizable to me because I'm looking at his face. His face was elongated. He has a puffy little cheek like face, and he didn't look like himself. He was fainted. They swishing the towel around, trying to get him some air. One, this wasn't the States. Like, even if I was his opponent, I'd be like, hook that man up to an IV and get him some vitamin C and some hydrate his ass back up. Regardless, I wouldn't even be tripping. Like, I'm not fighting this guy with him dehydrated like that. People who dehydrated, they get into the ring. Of course, they got that day to rehydrate, so they seem like they okay. But after about the 5th or 6th round, they fucked, and that's what Jaime Munguia knows. Now, if some of y'all might not remember, Jaime Munguia came into boxing, to our knowledge, as a 147 pounder. Remember that shit? And I was looking at him then like, nigga, you is way too big for this weight class. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, as a boxing coach, we deal with stuff with the weight, and you got to properly take that shit off. A lot of fighters saying, I don't want CTE, I don't want Parkinson's, and now you don't want a fucked up body neither that don't properly function right. Pulling weight off is bad. Y'all remember the times when women were bulimic and anorexic? Remember that was an epidemic? And shout outs to this country because we have gotten past it. I know, considering what it used to be, we are overweight people in America. But we have garnished the notion that these women got to be toothpicks because that was not normal. You can't, like, you let a dude build a woman. Back then, when I was a kid, he would build a toothpick and put some big old titties on it. That's what dudes do, a big old butt. You gotta have weight in the center. Think about it like this: a motorcycle, right? Where's a motorcycle the heaviest? It's in the center, right? That's where you're gonna get your balance. The motorcycle has to be heavy in the center for it to where you can't have a light ass center in the middle of the motorcycle and then heavy in the front or heavy in the back. Your ass can be in the accident. You know what I'm saying? The same thing. You can't have a woman that's teeny as hell. Dolly Parton, hey, God bless her. I love her as an artist. I do. She's very talented, but she'll tell you herself, nothing money couldn't buy. She was always top heavy, but you're not gonna be top heavy and not have a middle that's kind of heavy. That shit don't add up. You can be bottom heavy, like butt wise, but I don't know about thighs. If you got some healthy thighs, then you're gonna have a healthy midsection too. But you can have an onion or a badonka and have a small midsection, but you're not gonna have no top heaviness and have no teeny ass. Whatever. This shit is not normal. And women was killing themselves trying to make it. They was throwing up and all the shit that come with trying to throw up and being bulimic and shit. That shit was bad. It was killing a lot of women. Some of these kids born to these women are fucked up because they was in a toxic environment. WJ Lucky said, I was deployed with the Navy for 6 months on the Westpac. I loved it. WJ, I know you did. On that Westpac. All of y'all did. I loved it too. I got some good ass shopping in. Especially when we got to China and Korea. Andrew Charles said, extreme weight draining is gray area cheating in my opinion. But I get it. If you make the weight, you make the weight. Yeah, but it's not something that I will, how I feel about people who just cheat, it is low key cheating because Mungia had no business at 147. No business. But like you say, if you make the weight, you make the weight. It's not something I'm gonna charge the hill about. You know what I'm saying? But he couldn't sustain that shit. Like, if there are some people out there that didn't even know he ever fought at 147, but he did. He couldn't laugh. But when he came into that weight division, I said he gonna beat everybody ass in here. He just way too big. You just don't know how your genetics gonna play out. Some people will be able to cut weight all through their 20s, and only when they get 30 they can't do it no more. But probably like a Canelo, he was able to cut weight for a long time in his 20s, and he's a big guy too, in my opinion. When you could walk around like 190 and all that stuff, you're a big guy. Errol Spence walk around 180, 190 or whatever. I'm talking prior to any of his injuries or whatever. Like, that's what he was doing, and he was able to cut down and all that. So if you make the weight, you make the weight. But like I said, being a boxing coach, I see firsthand that shit ain't good. They could have lost him that night. To faint at the press conference, he couldn't even hold it in till they got, from in front of the cameras. And Oscar and them knew, because if you look at the press conference when they were staring, Oscar was trying to be coy, but he was like, clapping his hand, like, turn around, look at them, take a picture. And then they do their little picture like this, and then he was like, all right, face each other, whatever. He was trying to rush through it. I saw you, Oscar. I saw what you was doing. I ain't mad at you, man. Get some hydration in this dude. Don't nobody want to see people dying like that. Like, that's just crazy. It's bad for the sport as a whole. So these fighters, one thing they must understand, and if you affiliated with any fighters or you training with them or anything like that, they have to understand that they got to pick the weight that's good per their stature. And it's about your stature, and it's about your age. So, you could be like, let me use Bunny for an example. Bunny big as hell. He's a tall guy, right? Bunny got the stature where you can arguably say Bunny can compete at 147 and Bunny can compete at even 154. You can say that. But Bunny was fighting at 135 forever. But Bunny was young. And when you're young, you can get to those type weights. I don't know why, but as you get older, you fill in. And some people stay that size forever. They're just small people. But most people, like a person as tall as Bunny, guarantee you the dude's gonna be way bigger than that. You can tell this with basketball players. They come into the league, they get big. They came in little guys and then they get humongous because they have the stature to pull that off. So you got to pick your weight according to your youth and your stature. And they gotta be in the business of taking the weight off before they get into the hardcore part of the training. If you're making weight because you're staying in the gym, it's one thing. But if you're making it because you're fasting at the last minute, it's different. Yeah, that's a way to fast, Andrew. That where you're fasting, I call it fasting, but not fasting. That's what I talk about all the time on my other channel. I'm actually creating a book of recipes where you pretty much fasting, because to fast is to not put nothing in your stomach, right? So you're pretty much fasting, but you're drinking your food. And I know that sounds crazy to people, but it is not. It's easy. It's easy to do. Your habit, your particular habits, your particular cravings can make it easier or harder, meaning, it is that easy to do, but maybe you like eating chicken or meatloaf or something. Maybe that's your thing. It'll come down to your particular willpower. Can you do it? But if you broke your jaw, that's exactly what you would have to be doing. That wire your mouth shut. When you're in pain and your parasympathetic nervous system kicks in, I think it's that. If you got your sympathetic nervous system and your parasympathetic, I always get the two confused, but one of them kicks in when you're in pain, guess what? Hunger goes away. Y'all ever notice that? You ever notice when you have surgery and you don't have hunger pains and they don't feed you for the first couple of days after surgery? There's a reason, because your body can do this. It's like y'all ever see that movie, The Abyss, when they was putting the water, it was some kind of liquid oxygen. He said, don't worry, your body will remember. Now think about it, these were grown ass people. And the last time that they breathed liquid oxygen was when they was in the womb. And who the fuck remember when they was in the womb? So, but he was like, hey, muscle memory, your body will remember. Same thing. And sure enough, they put the helmet on it. Your first instinct was you choking and all this stuff. And they said, take it easy, breathe, just relax. And guess what? Your body remembered. So drinking your food or eating certain foods only and taking out others, your body will remember. It will remember, and it will become easier every day that pass. You know what I'm saying? I was very concerned about Hammy McGill. I don't want to see that in boxing ever. Andrew Charles said The Abyss was one of my favorite movies back in the day. Indeed, sir. Indeed, that was my joint. I love scientific movies. In fact, this Halloween, and I know we way out because I'm actually going to invest in this. I'm going to be either a commander or a captain of somebody's starship from Star Trek. I'll put it together. I'm going all out. In fact, I don't know if y'all look at Discovery. If y'all are Trekkies out there, Discovery, Star Trek Discovery, they come on Paramount. You can buy it on Prime, Amazon Prime. You have to pay. But if you got Paramount, it's free. Love that show. I'm definitely a Trekkie. And everybody's like, what's Star Wars? Star Trek is the same. No, it's not. Star Trek is my joint. Then Star Wars. But anywho, Hammy McGill, hopefully he gets better. He won that fight, by the way. He won that fight because he knew he had to go in there and show and prove in the first couple of rounds. Had he lasted to 5th or 6th, he'd have been done. Now, my question is, why is Barry Hunter taking a fighter down in Mexico? That guy Ballard, I've seen him fight before. He's okay. He's a good little pressure fighter a little bit sometimes when he wants to, but why go to Mexico? Hammy McGill, you're not that well known that he does a lot of fights down there. You gotta have to come on in. You have to come out your comfort zone on that one, Jaime. But it is what it is. So I hope he gets well. Right now, it looks like he has to move up. And to any boxers, that's the trick of the game. That's part of the game. Learning how to pick your proper weight. It's part of the game. Because if you don't pick right, you're going to pay for that shit. And if it's about having a healthy body when you enter the ring, then part of picking your proper weight is being healthy. That's why I say, looking at Kell Brook, he looked like he must have had some good nutrition. He didn't look weight drained at all. He looked like he could make that weight. And Khan actually looked bigger than me or more muscular. I was shocked because he did his hand up like this during a press conference, and I was like, what the fuck? I ain't never seen him cut up like that. But anyway, let's move on to the dreaded elephant in the room. Now, I done put the link in there. I'm going to put it in again if you guys want to chime in. Hit the like button when you come up in the hazy. Come on now. Even if you want to look at it from your peripheral, hit that like button. Come on now. I see the number jump up, jump down, jump up, jump down. I know when I get off, it's going to be more people than what I see up there. Hit the like button. Please hit that motherfucking like button. Lean on it. Don't just reckless eyeball. Just come in, hit it, back the fuck up, and look at it. However you want to do it. Shout outs to those in the and Facebook. Thank y'all for tuning in. I'll be seeing y'all, but y'all need to bring yourself into the YouTube and get in the chat, or even still just come in and at least hit the like button. You hitting the like button on Facebook is not going to do nothing for my algorithms. Just so you know, you have to come into the channel and hit the like button. So Bud did this interview and y'all saw it. All of y'all saw this interview. And I will say this. Anybody who want to say I told you so, or I charge you up and say I told you, look what Bud say. It's cool. You get no argument or debate from me. But that interview doesn't change anything from my calculus. It doesn't. And I'll tell you why. It doesn't negate what has been said or done thus far in these last 4 years or so. It doesn't negate any of that. I wanted some clarification though, because when he said we knew that Ugas and Earl was going to fight, we already knew that. Well, the follow-up question should have been, when did you know? When did you know? Did you know in August? Was it in September? Because if you talk to some Spence fans, they'll say that some of them, not all, will say that fight was a done deal ever since August, after the Pacquiao and Ugas fight, or September, as early as September. If that's the case, what about the set-aside money? Now, we all know from, previous fights trying to be made, like Devin Haney and Gary Russell's fight trying to be made, and other fighters trying to make fights. We all know that in your contract, everything has to be set in stone. Anything not in that contract, oh well, we can all agree to that. We can all agree to that. So if the set-aside money wasn't done to December, then how did the contract be done in September? These are questions that I ask. ATL is in the building. What's poppin', King? MST, salute Queen. What you cooking? I'm cooking on Bud's interview at the moment. I know I was gone, ATL, for like 3 days. I was a little under the weather, but I'm back. So, the interview, like ATL, that's my boy right there. He's a Spence fan. We get along famously. But, I was just saying, ATL, that what Bud said in his last interview don't negate anything that's already been said and done between both of them up these last 4 years. Yeah, I'm going to tell you what I think Bud was doing at the end. But, like I said, there has to be some clarification. If I'm doing the interview, I'm going to say, oh, you knew? You always knew? When did you know? Give me a date. Because you saying I knew is vague. I'm going to tell you a way you can look at it. Not saying you got to, but you can. When your kids do something stupid and you be like, I knew that motherfucker was going to do that. Or people you just know be like, hey, I knew that nigga was going to do that shit. You knew that person was going to do that because you know that person. Was he saying it like that? Or was he saying it like, yeah, we already knew. We knew the dates. We saw the contract. He told me he was signing the contract. Which one, Bud? We don't know. Okay? So that's what I mean by a little clarification. I like Bud to stand firm in whatever he said before until now and not to waver on it. But I think I know what Bud is doing. ATL said, you good now? He said, yep. So, the clarification of it all, that's what I need. Because if somebody wants to argue as a Spence fan, and I don't do arguments really, but if they want to make the argument that I told you Bud knew, what was he doing when he was like, I'm looking for the big fish and this, that, and the other. Hey, you're not going to get a debate from me, because I always say you got to go with the man said. But I will tell you what the man said was vague. And Bud is shrewd. He is a clever businessman, more than people give him props. Now I watch for 4 years or more, or however long, everybody call Bud anything but a child of God. how stupid he was for taking this agreement with Bob Arum and this, that, and the other. Now, me personally, if you're black, I don't think you should sign with somebody like Bob Arum. He doesn't have your best interest at heart. He never will. He's from that old school way, and he's 90. You're not going to change him. He's not going to course correct. He's deep in his age. You don't have to respect Bob Arum, but all of us should, and this is just my belief in life, should respect the age. And there's a way to do that. You know, some people be like, fuck him, he was a fuck up all his life. No, you have to respect the age, because we all gonna be there one day. Respect the age. There's a lot going on that you was fortunate enough to make it to the age. So that's where I'm at with Bob Arum right now. But I will not negate or act like what he has done and said didn't happen. You understand? So when you knew, Terrence, when? That would have been my follow-up question. And we got to put our common sense. If the set-aside didn't take place till like the third week in December, then suffice to say, Ugas and Stanionis was on and popping until Stanionis agreed to that set-aside money. Then I would like to know who gave Stanionis that money. Whose idea was it to pay him? These are follow-up questions, you know? So again, the contract couldn't have been signed in September, because you can't have a contract or an obligation with Stanionis and a contract with Earl Spence at the same time. One of them going to be considered invalid. I do believe the contract or the obligation with Stanionis came before this contract with Earl Spence. As far as Ugas is concerned, you can go back and look at his IG, how he was begging everybody but Santa Claus for WBA not to do him like that. How it was unfair. I've even made a video stating that I've never seen him move on somebody that fast. Damn, can the motherfucker breathe? Can he enjoy the fruits of his labor? He got the belt legitimately, like outright, because he was a champion in recess up until July. August, he has to fight because of injuries. Spence and the other guy had to fall out, so Ugas and Pacquiao fights. Pacquiao was denied in July the belt back. So where did the belt go from Pacquiao? Went to Ugas. So when them two fought, Ugas legitimately secured that belt. And he ain't had time to really breathe before the WBA ordered him to fight Stanionis. So again, if the set-aside money didn't come to third week of December or towards the end of December, then how did Earl and him have a contract? That's a legitimate question. The date of the actual fight, again, when contracts are signed, y'all correct me if I'm wrong, they're going to have the location, the date, and everything. There will be nothing up to question. You cannot have a contract signed and then say, oh yeah, by the way, add this. Oh yeah, by the way, add that. Everything has to be in place in the contract when both parties sign. But we know in real time, you can look back, a couple of weeks ago, did we even learn the date? How hard is that? The actual date of the fight. So was the contract signed a couple of weeks ago? So when Buzz said we knew, I interpreted like, based on the other information I just was telling you about, I interpreted his saying we knew as somebody getting to him and saying, you get more flies with honey. I interpreted him being diplomatic and trying to make a compromise, trying to do what he can to get this fight. As WJ Lucky said, he heard that Bud is probably signing a multi-million-dollar contract with PBC just so he can get the fight. And that could be the change of heart. That could be why he's saying it. Or some people would clarify that as talking out the side of your neck. I don't. But, some people can say that. Again, you get no debate here from me. If that's how you see it, I just don't see it like that. Like I said, he being diplomatic. I also think that what carries weight here is he has a pending case. Now, maybe so people can, maybe in the movies, so everybody countrywide can understand that when you have a pending case, maybe your Miranda rights should be read to you in those situations too. Like everything you say and do can and will be held against you. Everything, every word matters going forward. This case is bigger than Nino, meaning it's bigger than Bud. It's going to help all, but especially Black fighters or disenfranchised fighters who are judged unfairly and treated unfairly for superficial reasons. This is showing that you can get a reprieve. Now, I wanted to break down, and I'll step into it just a little bit. I ain't go too in depth. But we know that Bob has a contract with ESPN. But who is ESPN daddy? The big daddy of all is Disney. And you can't go nowhere in this world and Disney is not represented or somebody don't know about Disney. Their brand is beyond reproach. Are they too big to fail? No, nothing is. It will be hard, but nothing is too big to fail. So if Disney is the big daddy, ESPN is the small fish. Bob Arum is definitely a good to Disney. Now, Disney touched everybody. White, black, yellow, purple, whatever. There's no racial barriers when it comes to Disney, no religion when it comes to Disney. Disney break all barriers. You think that they would sit up there and let Bob stamp a brand on them that they're not willing to take? You think that they would go in contract with somebody if they didn't vet the person thoroughly? And even if they thought they vet them, you think that they wouldn't have precautions in place in the contract for little shit just like this? If you misrepresent yourself when you signing contracts in conjunction with people like Disney and all that, they have an escape clause. They always do. Disney is not going to let Bob Arum stay in their record. Never will they ever. And ESPN is not trying to lose that Disney money. So never will they ever. They will drop Bob like a hot potato. Now, the best thing about this suit is that Terrence Crawford requested a jury trial. So smart, so smart. And once they get the jury trial, everything gonna be like public record. It's gonna be public record anyway. But with the jury trial, like we probably get to see it. Imagine what we're gonna learn and glean from them having this jury trial. And Terrence Crawford ain't letting them out of that. So Bob right now is probably really interested in handling this thing at the lowest level, meaning, Terrence, what can I do for you? So Terrence has leverage with Bob right now, and Bob knows it. If discovery happens, and it will, so I don't even like saying if, Disney is going to learn some inconvenient truths about Bob Arum and ESPN. And Disney don't mind dropping fucking ESPN. They can do it. Easy. That Disney is the big fish. Fuck Top Rank. Fuck ESPN. Fuck PBC. All that. Disney is the big fish. You're not going to tarnish them. So that's where we at with that. So I know that Terrence is getting good advice from his lawyers. While everybody called him dumb and stupid for so many years, apparently he's not so dumb and stupid. That's how I see it. He's more clever than people gave him credit for. And he's getting good advice. And he has to, if you want to call it, lay low or be very diplomatic in his approach to any interview going forward. So I think that has a factor into what he gave this weekend as far as interviews. I think he has to be that way. I think when Discovery come out, it's going to affect with everybody. Everybody gonna have be caught with their drawers down. That's what I think. And they gonna have to live with whatever the hell they were saying and doing. You know what I'm saying? Andrew said Mickey Mouse runs this shit. He sure do. Mickey got leverage. You understand? Disney will never let them dethrone him. He ain't even gonna give you an opportunity. ESPN is gonna be so busy puckering up to Disney ass. They're gonna be like, Bob, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Bob moves. You know how many fights are on ESPN Plus? But when Terrence was signed with Bob, how many fights went to ESPN Plus? Bob fights on ESPN pay-per-view. Could have did that with Terrence. Would have been the click of a button when we was ordering the fight. But now he wanted to put it on ESPN Plus. If you ever look at the catalog of ESPN Plus, it ain't nothing to write home to mama about. You got to think real hard. Do I want to buy this shit? That's why the package, you can get the package Hulu, which is an excellent network. I love Hulu. They have some great shows, and Disney Plus and ESPN. That's ESPN Plus. I mean, like, that's what you get. That's the package I got. And then you gotta go to Fire Stick, and then you gotta pull it up, and sometimes it works, and sometimes it don't. And then if you in there, you know, Terrence Crawford cost, it wasn't as expensive as what everybody else might have paid trying to find it somewhere else. Because you can go to places like Fight TV and pick up pay-per-view as well. And that's an app that's on most smart TVs. So if you don't want to be dibbling and dabbling and buying all these damn subscriptions to this and that and all that, then you can go to Fight TV. I think I like that idea, how they got that set up. Because you can go right there. And, you know, to get in, it's free and everything. But then when you want to buy the fight, you just pay the price for the fight and boom, it's right there. It's on most smart TVs. I haven't seen a smart TV yet that don't have that app preloaded up in there. So, hey, that's a way to get to y'all fights without having to get a subscription to this and a subscription to that. It's like if it's on DAZN, I said DAZN, DAZN. If it's on DAZN, if it's on ESPN Plus, and God knows what other subscriptions. Like if you don't have Showtime, like all them subscriptions that you don't have, you can go to Fight TV. That's the beauty about Fight TV. They don't pay me to advertise for them, but that's what I glean by looking at them. You go there, you can get in free. If you got a smart TV, set up your little password, whatever. But they gonna have some nuggets on there that you can look at for free. But if you want to buy a fight that's on Showtime, but you don't got Showtime, or ESPN Plus, but you don't got ESPN Plus, but you don't got DAZN, boom, you can buy it right there. As you said, the ESPN app is also the hardest to use. It's Exactamundo. And people think that we cap for Bud when we say that it's not user friendly. Every other app, you just click it and the fight is on. Don't find it amazing. This is what I mean by I can't negate what has already happened. And don't factor that in. I'm wondering why Bud is answering the questions the way he is and what he said. And I don't do too much like it, but you know, he's a grown man. I respect him and his wishes. Period. And I try to offer that respect to everybody, not just celebrities, fighters, or whoever, to the regular everyday person walking down the street. You know, you deserve respect until you show you don't. It is what it is. So I think he was being diplomatic. I really do. I think he was taking into consideration he had this pendant suit. And I think somebody was telling him you catch more flies with honey. And if it comes to find out with WJ Lucky said that he had he's going to do the multi-million-dollar deal with PBC, then we already know what time it was. Then you can further speculate and say that Bud and Errol has talked lately. And what makes me really believe that, like, it's really been a recent conversation, is because look what Errol just said recently. He said, hey, I'm going to go ahead and get Ugas out of there. I'm paraphrasing. And then I'm gonna go for the other belt. Well, the other belt is the WBO. He didn't name Terrence that I can remember. Somebody else confirmed that they've heard it the same way too, because I don't want to put no words in Earl's mouth. But he basically said, I'm going for undisputed. He didn't say those words, but he said, I'm going for the other belt. So that's what you're doing. You're going for undisputed. Now, if something else get in the way, it's just not going to look good for your boy Spence. It's just not. It's not going to look good for him as far as him sticking to what he say. This is like the third thing that he said. Yeah, first was sorry, when Terrence was coming into the 147 division. Hey, you got Jeff Horn over there. He fight under the same banner you fight under. He fight with Bob. Go get that belt and then come back and holler at me. Then it was, I'm gonna clean up my side of the street. Why not take the easy route? I'm gonna hit up Sean Porter. Whoever was the easy route at that time. So go fight Jeff Horn. Then I'm gonna take the easy route. Ugas was not part of the easy route. That interview, or that video was made years ago. Ugas didn't become somebody legitimate until July last year. Way after that original interview. So Ugas was not a part of the plan. Ugas also has one belt, so does Terrence. Why not go to Terrence first and then go to Ugas? Why even take the Mikey Garcia? Now, in fairness to Earl, Mikey called him out. But you could have said, yo, player, hold up, hold tight. I got some business with some real welterweights first. Then I'll get back to you. Then to Danny. You know what I'm saying? What was up with that? Hey, I got some business to take care of. I got Crawford over here. Let me get at him. That was after Sean Porter. Could have did that. You could have finished with Pacquiao. This is why a lot of people say that, whether they Buzz fans or not, or people who's being unbiased, can look at it and say, you kind of like ducking him, Earl. You're coming off like you're ducking him. I don't hate Earl Spence. I'm just telling you what it looked like to me. Those are different things, by the way. Go get the belt from Jeff Horn. Let me clean up my side of the street. Let me take the easy route. Let me fight Mikey Garcia. A 50-50. He has no belts. He's never been a real welterweight, but I'm going to give him 50-50. We don't know about it till after the fight. Sean Porter, you got a belt now. You got a WBC. Let me get that up off you. Let me give you 50-50. Again, we don't hear about it till after the fight. Danny Garcia, you bring some clout. You can put asses in the seat. Let me give you 60-40. Don't hear shit about that till after the fight. And now, like Sean Porter, bud. Then we could say, because everybody you fight, they want nothing. Not Victor Postol, not Felix Diaz, not Gamboa, nobody. But when our PBC fighters fight them, they somebody again. When you leave, bud, they be talking again. But when you fight them, bud, they not shit. They're tomato cans. This is how I'm just analyzing this whole entire mess. I think Earl and Bud did. I'm jumping on a limb and saying I think they talked recently. And I think that's why Earl made it his point, made it his business to get in that ring. And I don't know who fight he was at, but he said what he said. And Bud said what he said. And see, the coincidence of it all, the timing of it all is not lost on me. So maybe they did talk. And maybe there can be a modicum of hope or optimism, maybe. But I'm sorry, for me, I have to trust but verify. So when the Earl Spence and Bud Crawford fight is signed, sealed, delivered, and the date set, and I'm gonna believe it all the way up to the first bell of the first fight. That's when I'm gonna really believe it. Up until that point, up until the first, I'm talking the undercard now. I'm talking when the undercard starts for that fight, for that matchup, Earl Spence and Bud Crawford. Then I'm gonna be like, okay, yeah, I believe it because it's going down. Then I will hit the send button or the buy button on my cable and purchase the fight. Not a minute soon. Andrew Charles said the whole mess with how they moved Manny Belt was real fishy too. Yeah, because as the fighters are proven to be here lately, they're the little pawns, and the managers and the promoters and the sanction bodies, they're the people moving. We come to see them play chess. That's what we doing. They moving pieces on the board, but we coming to see them play chess. We not doing nothing. Like we're not even really coming to for the fighters. The fighters keep acting like they don't got no power. And let me make something clear too, because this is confusing. This is why I hate to talk about money. Okay, you got a lot of fighters out there that be like, I'm my own boss. And y'all correct me if I'm wrong, because this is not a shot specifically at no one person. But if the shoe fits, it fits. You know what I'm saying? And some of y'all might not like what I say. Let me get this. I never wanted to see Bud Porter, but that's what people were asking for. I rewatched it a few days ago. It's pretty good. Porter was never making it out. Yeah. He was never like Bud to me was kind of, being lackadaisical a little bit, just to me. But when and this is the thing that everybody talk about when he said, Bomac told him you lose in the fight, but look at that. Just unpack that for a minute. Your corner man says, hey, you lose it. Like, hey, I know what you're doing, but shit, these judges might not know what you're doing. They don't want you to have nothing anyway. If they get a chance to screw you over, they will. And what the turns do, I'm losing. Came right out and turned that bitch all the way up. That tells me that he was being lackadaisical with Sean from the jump. And you want to listen to what people say, what their first mind say right after the fight. Fucking Porter didn't even have the words to describe Bud, like the power of it all. He didn't have the words. He was like, he's something else. He's different. I can't remember what he said, but he didn't have the words. Porter, no, he has relevance because he fought them all. He fought Kell. I don't think he fought Amir. I don't know if he fought Amir, but he fought Kell. He fought Spence. He fought Crawford. He know people gonna have some queries about, or comparisons that they want to be made, and he holding all the cards. Amir, you did quit when you fought Crawford. You did. That wasn't no low blow like you saying it. But no, even if it was, we can't look at Terrence like he chronically go there. I don't even know if it was a low blow, but if he said it was, I give it to him. But I don't think it was to that level that he had to stop. I think you knew it was. Look at his face after Kell Brook. Kell Brook put an ass whooping on Amir Khan. Amir Khan didn't try to quit. He didn't. The ref had to call it. But fucking Bud, he was like, I'm done. Kell Brook, we haven't heard that you broke an orbital bone. We heard Bud hurt you in that area, but your orbital bone was broke once on one area by Triple G and the other eye by Earl Spence. Nobody ever says that Terrence broke your orbital bone, but you quit. You quit. Or maybe you knew that bitch was on his last motherfucking leg before Terrence was about to give you the deathly blow. Terrence is something else. But in the end of the day, we hope though that fight. I'm gonna be optimistic. I'm just not gonna support PBC until that fight happens. because I don't believe them. But I would be optimistic that Bud and Arrow might have worked something out. I don't know. What else would make Bud talk like he talked? I see the positive. And let me clear one more thing up. When Bud was talking about the climate around them two, in these boxing streets with these content creators and all this stuff, and some people take it as it was a shot at all blacks. I'm gonna be clear, and I'm not speaking for nobody else. Um, but I believe I'm not speaking for you, but I believe I know a few content creators that probably feel the same way as I feel. But you got love out here in these black boxing streets as far as content creators. You really do. I am a fan. I am a person that shows you love and support regardless. If you wanted to hang it up today, I'm with you, King. I am with you, and I hope this message gets to you and you receive it well. Don't let yourself for 1 second think that you ain't got no love out here from black supporters, because you do, and you have it in abundance. Now, whoever he was talking about, he wasn't talking to me. I never felt that he was talking to me. So I'm not gonna wear that jacket that he took a shot at black folks in general. I think he took a shot at people who've been taking a shot at him for years and years and years. That's on them. That's between them. I like I said, for years I've heard people call him everything but a child of God. Now he heard it too. If I heard it, he heard it. And he felt a certain way, And that's what I think he was talking about, because in that controversy, look at where we at. Everybody, I know some content creators was trying to head off folks from us getting to this level. And I remember it. Very popular content creators saying, hey, let's not let's chill on this shit before it get out of hand. And a lot that it was, fell on deaf ears, so to speak. I myself, if you want to include me in it, I came to my conclusion recently. I am always the person that was like, let's compromise, play it down the middle. Both of these guys, I haven't once heard out of either one's mouth that like, you a whole bitch, like you scared to fight me. I mean, until recently, like people calling each other, out their names, but up until recently. But for me, and I will clarify, for me, it was a Tim Smith interview that told me everything I need to know. So in the end of the day, Bud, I don't think you directing that at all black folks. I think you directing it at the ones you directing it at, and I don't put myself in that category, because it's Team Bud Crawford over here. It's Team All Fighters, period. But Bud is my favorite fighter, and he gets all the love and support that I can give from my channel. I respect everybody's opinion, even if it's totally opposite of what I say. We all humans. We all got our own mind. As I say, I wore the uniform so for 20 years so you can feel how you feel and say what you say. And I totally respect you. I don't have no animosity. I can break bread with somebody who don't feel the way I feel or believe the way I believe. It's all to the good. But Bud, I'm going to tell you, at Boxing Fans Talk TV, we are Team Crawford over here. We love you. We support you. And we black. We black. I respect anything you say or do. Whatever you want to do, player. Anything you want to do. You want to take it back to the house? You done? I'm cool. I'm cool. You want to retire? You going into the Hall of Fame? I'm cool. Whatever you want to do, we support it. So I just want to be clear with that. And on that note, I put the link in several times. I know that's a touchy subject. So sometimes people don't want to, jump in on that. And my end conclusion, basically, Bud is being diplomatic. He's taking in consideration his suit that he got pending, with everything that could be with that. And you can catch more flies with honey. So maybe he's trying that approach. The next clarifying question I would like for somebody to ask him if they put a microphone in his face is, what is a reasonable time to wait after the Ugas and Spence fight before you say, fuck it, I'm going to 154 and I'm at Charlo's neck? Because it's a forlorn conclusion, or so we think, that Charlo is going to win this fight. But hey, he might not. I think Charlo edged him out last time, but I'm talking about Jamel, but he might not. Castano is a tough competitor. Now we know that Castano just postponed this fight, I guess, because he had a torn bicep or something. He had an injury. I'm not mad at him for that. I ain't gonna look at it as he's stalling. This is something that I said that Gary Russell should have did, and I still stand by that. He should have did it. And people say he couldn't. Yes, the fuck he can. Yes, the fuck he can. If he had got hit by a bus and couldn't walk or was in a coma or something, that fight would have been postponed. So to me, it's the same thing. You got an injury that's a big part. You ain't got like he ain't got a nipple injury. He ain't got an ear injury. He got motherfucking a shoulder injury, or he had, that's part of fighting. He needed that. We would have been mad, could have called him everything but a child of God. So what? Gary Russell should have postponed that fight. But, it is what it is. They did what they did, and they're going to keep doing what they're doing. That's why I'm going to stand on my 10 toes and say, PBC, until the Errol Spence and Bud Crawford fight, you lost, what I want to say, a consumer, a diligent consumer. Like, even when I knew better, I was buying fights from you guys. I'm not doing it. I'm going to save my money. And I like saving my money because, look, I can do other things. Like get my eyebrows done. I can get my toes done. I can go buy an outfit, maybe a pair of shoes. Hell, I can get me a nice pair of shoes for how much it costs to buy a fight. And as much as I'm a big fan of Keith Thurman, I didn't buy your fight neither. It wasn't you, Keith. It was BBC. I apologize. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and duck off into this Black History Month. I'm going to try to be as quick as I can, you guys. The first person, I'm going to talk about some people that people suggested that I talk about. And I'm going to try to run through quick. So I apologize. And I got to run through quick because, I missed those 3 days, and we need all our days in Black history. So here we go. We're gonna talk about Bessie Coleman. So somebody should be happy that I'm picking this person to talk about amongst others. Hold on. So Bessie Coleman was the first African American woman. And I don't know if we should say African American or Black. I'm twirling with that. But I'm going to read what it says. Bessie Coleman was the first African American woman and also the first woman of Native American descent to hold a pilot's license. Coleman grew up in a cruel world of poverty and discrimination. She was born in Atlanta, Texas, and in one county over from Paris, Texas, where whites lynched at least 9 Black men between 1890 and 1920. African Americans were barred from voting through literacy tests, poll taxes, economic reprisals, and terrorism. They couldn't ride in railway cars with white people, nor use a wide range of public facilities set aside for whites. When young Bessie first went to school at the age of 6, it was to a one-room wooden shack, a 4-mile walk from her home. Often there wasn't paper to write on nor pencils to write with. When Coleman turned 23, she headed to Chicago to live with 2 of her older brothers, hoping to make something of herself. But the Windy City offered little more to an African American woman than did Texas. When Coleman decided she wanted to learn to fly, the discrimination she faced based on race and gender meant that she would have to travel to France to realize her dreams. It was soldiers returning from World War I with the wild tales of flying exploits who first interested Coleman in aviation. She was also spurred on by her brother, who taunted her with the claims that French women were superior to African American women because they could fly. In fact, very few American women of any race had pilot licenses in 1918. Those who did were predominantly white and wealthy. Every flying school that Coleman approached refused to admit her because she was both black and a woman. And to add on to that, she was Native American too, because one of her parents were. Um, on the advice of Robert Abbott, the owner of Chicago Defender and one of the first African American millionaires, Coleman decided to learn to fly in France. Coleman learned French at a burlesque school in Chicago Loop, withdrew the savings she had accumulated from her work as a manicurist and a manager of Chili Parlor, and with the additional financial support of Abbott and another African American entrepreneur, she set off for Paris from New York on November 20th, 1920. Coleman was the only student of color in her class, but within 7 months, she achieved her goal. She was taught in a 27-foot biplane that was known to fail frequently, sometimes in the air. During her training, Coleman witnessed a fellow student die in the plane crash, which she described as a terrible shock to her nerves. But the accident didn't deter her. In June 1921, the the FAI, awarded her an international pilot's license. I can't pronounce the word; it's a French word. Aeronautique Internationale, something like that. When Coleman returned to the U.S. in September 1921, scores of reporters turned out to meet her. The Air Service News noted that Coleman had become a full-fledged aviatrix, the first of her race. She was invited as a guest of honor to attend the all-black musical Shuffle Along. The entire audience, including the several hundred whites in the orchestra seats, rose to give the first African-American female pilot a standing ovation. Over the next 5 years, Coleman performed at countless air shows. The first took place in September 3rd, 1922 in Garden City, Long Island. The Chicago Defender publicized the event, saying the wonderful little woman Bessie Coleman would do heart-running stunts. According to a reporter from Kansas, as many as 3,000 people, including local dignitaries, attended the event. Over the following years, Coleman used her position of prominence to encourage other African Americans to fly. She also made a point of refusing to perform at locations that wouldn't admit blacks. But damn, she was a pioneer in her own time. Coleman took her tragic last flight on April 30th, 1926 in Jacksonville, Florida, together with a young Texan mechanic called William Willis. Coleman was preparing for an air show that was to have taken place the following day at 3,500 feet. With Willis at the controls, an unsecured wrench somehow got caught in the control gears, and the plane unexpectedly plummeted toward Earth. Coleman, who wasn't wearing a seatbelt, fell to her death. And Coleman has not been forgotten in the decades since her death. For a number of years, starting in 31, black pilots from Chicago instituted an annual flyover her grave. In 1977, a group of African American women pilots established the Bessie Coleman Aviators Club. And in 1992, a Chicago City Council resolution requested that the U.S. Postal Service issue a Bessie Coleman stamp. The resolution noted that Bessie Coleman continues to inspire untold thousands, even millions of young persons with her sense of adventure, her positive attitude, and her determination to succeed. Now, when I read this, I was like dumbfounded because, my first job in the military was aviation. And we had this thing called FOD walk down, foreign object damage. And if you any good with, any kind of mechanics on something like, planes or something serious, like you can't have that go wrong, then you understand, you understand FOD because before you can even start your engine, all the tools have to be accounted for. Everything that you took out is accounted for, and everything that you put back in is accounted for. And so how I'm looking at this right now is like they didn't probably have that like set up pretty good. This a picture of her. I have other pictures. Hold on. This is also a picture of her. And this is a picture of her. Let me take down my banner. That's a picture of her. She was Indian and black mix. So she died for what we would call a silly mistake on both of their part, because you have to account for all the twos. But she was a true American, and you know, somebody to be proud of. I mean, she was the first to do it, and she didn't let nothing stand in her way. So for that, she was before her time and a great American. So let me roll into Aesop Fables. I told you I was going to give you guys a couple of them because I missed a couple of days last week. And Aesop Fables is small little thing. So Aesop Fables, or the Aesopica, is a collection of fables credited to Aesop, a slave and a storyteller believed to have lived in ancient Greece between 620 and 564 BCE. And when we're talking BCE, that's, in case some of y'all don't know, most of y'all know, BCE is the way that they say when they used to say CE or BC. They just changed it now. It's before the Common Era, and then they got the Common Era standing for AD. We used to say BC and AD, but now it's BCE and CE. Of diverse origins, the stories associated with this name have descended to modern times through a number of sources and continue to be reinterpreted in different verbal registers and in popular as well as artistic media. The fables originally belonged to the oral tradition and were not collected for some 3 centuries after Aesop's death. By that time, a variety of other stories, jokes, and proverbs were being ascribed to him, although some of that material was from sources earlier than him or came from beyond the Greek cultural sphere. The process of inclusion has continued until the present, with some of the fables unrecorded before the late Middle Ages and others arriving from outside of Europe. The process is continuous, and new stories are still being added to the Aesop corpus, even when they are demonstrably more recent work and sometimes from unknown authors. Manuscripts in Latin and Greek were important adventures of transmission, although poetical treatments in European vernaculars eventually formed another. On the arrival of printing, collection of Aesop fables were among the earliest books in a variety of languages. Through the means of later collection and translation or adaptations of them, Aesop's reputation as a fabulist was transmitted through the word. Initially, the fables were addressed to adults and covered religious, social, and political themes. They were also put to the use as ethical guides, and from the Renaissance onwards, were particularly used for the education of children. Their ethical dimensions was reinforced in the adult world through depiction in sculpture, painting, and other illustrative means, as well as adaptation to drama and song. In addition, there have been reinterpretations of the meaning of the fables and changes in emphasis over time. And to explain basically what Aesop fables are, a guy, famous guy, Apollonius. I'm saying his name so wrong. Apollonius of Tyana. And again, I apologize saying his name probably all wrong. But basically, he broke it down to what an Aesop fable really is. It's like those who dine well off the plainest dishes. He made use of humble incidents to teach great truths. And after serving up his story, he adds to it the advice to do a thing or not to do a thing. Then, too, he was really more attached to the truth than the poets are. For the latter do violence to their own stories in order to make them probable. But he, by announcing a story which everyone knows not to be true, told the truth by the very fact that he did not claim to be relating real events. And so when I read that, I'm just reminded of cliches and all this stuff. You tell a story metaphorically, and it's supposed to be something that you can relate or empathize or correlate to with something that's real, but you tell it metaphorically. And like I said, cliches, birds of a feather flock together. What if somebody made a whole story about that cliche? We need to get back to those, because birds of a feather flock together says a whole lot. So it's a whole lot to any of us, right? And so shout outs to Yogi. She said, I love Aesop fables. My favorite two are the fox and the grapes and the dog and the steak. I'm gonna get some of these chats. I thought you would, Queen. I probably let me see. I'm trying to make sure. So let me get some of these chats. I never wanted to see Bud Porter, but okay, I read that. Andrew said that was a great little history lesson. That woman was a pioneer. She sure was. It's been a while, but I kind of recall a few of the stories. There's always a clear lesson in them, I believe. Yeah, I wanted to talk about things that we don't always talk about. And Yogi said, I love Aesop fables. My favorite two are the fox and yeah. And so these are like parables that you can, just apply to your everyday life. And like a feather flock together, we could think of so many things, do unto, and biblical things we could think of, do unto others as you have them do unto you. I mean, you grab so much for it. You can make a whole essay out of just certain cliches. And when I think of Aesop fables, that's what I think of. They're not true stories. They're not specifically naming somebody, but they're relevant in whatever it is you want to do at the time. They are similar to parables in the Bible, exactly. So yeah, that's how I see it. And think about it, this before the Common Era. That means it was before Jesus. So the last person I'm going to talk about is Arthur Ashe. So let me get his picture up. Like I'm putting. I'm front loading today. So Arthur Ashe. Okay, let's talk about him. Arthur Ashe became the first and remains the only African American male tennis player to win the U.S. Open and Wimbledon single titles. He was also the first African American man to earn the number one ranking in the world and the first to earn induction into the Tennis Hall of Fame. Always an activist. When Ashe learned that he had contracted AIDS via blood transfusion, he turned his efforts to raising awareness about the disease before finally succumbing to it February 6, 1993. In his early life, Arthur Robert Ashe Jr. was born July 10, 1943 in Richmond, Virginia, the older of Arthur Ashe Sr. and Maddie Cunningham's two sons. Arthur Ashe Jr. blended finesse, and power to forge a groundbreaking tennis game. Ashe's childhood was marked by hardship and opportunity. Under his mother's direction, Ashe was reading by the age of 4, but his life was turned upside down 2 years later when Maddie passed away. Ashe's father, fearful of seeing his boys fall into trouble without their mother's discipline, began running a tighter ship at home. Ashe and his younger brother, Johnny, went to church every Sunday, and after school, they were required to come straight home, with Arthur Sr. closely watching the time. My father kept me home out of trouble. I had exactly 12 minutes and 12 minutes only to get my butt home. That was me putting that little extra stank on it. Early tennis career. About a year after his mother's death, Ashe discovered the game of tennis, picking up the racket for the first time at the age of 7 at a park not far from his home. Sticking with the game, Ashe eventually caught the attention of Dr. Robert Walter Johnson Jr., a tennis coach from Lynchburg, Virginia, who was active in the Black tennis community under Johnson's direction. Ashe excelled. In his first tournament, Ashe reached the Junior National Championships, driven to excel. He eventually moved to St. Louis to work closely with another coach, winning the Junior National title in 1960 and again in 61. Ranked the 5th best junior player in the country, Ashe accepted a scholarship to University of California, Los Angeles, where he graduated with a degree in business administration. In 63, Ashe became the first African American to be recruited by the U.S. Davis Cup team. He continued to refine his game, gaining the attention of his tennis idol, Pancho Gonzalez, who further helped Ash hone his serve and volley attack. The training all came together in '68 when the still amateur Ash shocked the world by capturing the U.S. Open title, becoming the first and still the only African American male player to do so. 2 years later, he took home Australian titles. In 1975, Ash registered another upset by beating Jimmy Connors in the Wimbledon finals, um, marking another pioneer achievement within the African American community, becoming the first African American male player to win Wimbledon, which, like his U.S. Open victory, remains unmatched. That same year, Ash became the first African American man to be ranked number one in the world. 10 years later, in '85, he will become the first African American man to be inducted into the International Tennis Hall of Fame. Ash didn't relish in his status as a sole black star in the game dominated by white players, but he didn't run away from it either. With his unique pulpit, he pushed to create inner city tennis programs for youth, helped found the Association of Men Tennis Professionals, and spoke out against apartheid in South Africa, even going so far as to successfully lobby for a visa so he could visit and play tennis there. The tennis great also wrote A History of African American Athletes, A Hard Road to Glory, 3 volumes published in '88, and served as a national campaign chairman of the American Heart Association. Ash, who retired from competition in 1980, was plagued with health issues over the last 14 years of his life. After undergoing a quadruple bypass operation in '79, he and a second bypass operation in '83, and in '88 he underwent emergency brain surgery after experiencing paralysis of his right arm. A biopsy taken during a hospital stay revealed that Ash had AIDS. Doctors soon discovered that Ash had contracted HIV, the virus that causes AIDS, from a transfusion of blood that he was given during his second heart operation. Initially, he kept the news hidden from the public, but in '92, Ash came forward with the news after he learned that USA Today was working on a story about his health battle. After news of his condition became public, Ash poured himself into the work of raising awareness about AIDS. He delivered a speech at the United Nations, started a new foundation, and laid the groundwork for a $5 million fundraising campaign for the institution. Ash continued to work even as his health began to deteriorate, traveling to D.C. in late '92 to participate in the protests of the United States treatment of Haitian refugees. For his part in the demonstration, Ash was taken away in handcuffs. It was a poignant final display for a man who was never shy about showing his concern for the welfare of others. Ash met acclaimed photographer Jean Madamese at a United Negro College Fund and benefit in '76 and married her a year later. I apologize if I mess up her name, Matu Mase. I can't even say it. Andrew Young and the ambassador to the United Nations presided over the wedding. The couple remained together until Ash's death. In '86, Ash and his wife adopted a girl named Camara after the latter's line of work. Ash died in New York City on February 6, 1993 from AIDS-related pneumonia. 4 days later, he was laid to rest in his hometown of Richmond, Virginia. Some 6,000 people attended the service. In addition to his pioneering tennis career, Ash is remembered as an inspirational figure. He once said, "True heroism is remarkably sober, very undramatic. It is not the urge to surpass all others at whatever cost, but the urge to serve others at whatever cost." He also offered words about achieving success. One important key to success is self-confidence. An important key to self-confidence is preparation. The man was before his time. Was he kicking some parables right there? I wonder. It was before his time. But Arthur Ashe, he was from my hometown. I'm being born and raised in Richmond, Virginia. We grew up knowing about Arthur Ashe, and They got gyms named after him, and it was a center. We would put on shows and stuff like that. So yeah, I knew all about Arthur Ashe and some of this stuff. He was one of the ones I knew about. But again, when I'm doing my Black history, I want to talk about people that they don't really talk about all the time. These three people I talked about today were given to me by suggestion from some of you in the chat. So I was like, today was a good day to go ahead and knock them out. Uh, so anyway, thank y'all for joining. I was trying to keep it under 2 hours, and don't forget to go over to the Mac Mob. I don't know if he got a show tonight, but y'all please like and subscribe over there. E-Thriller, the Black Picasso, please like and subscribe over there. Bold and Understanding, please like and subscribe over there. And anybody who come in here and we see your moniker, we need to go and subscribe to each other. We should just all support, whether we agree with somebody or not. Just hit the like and subscribe. That ain't hard to do. We can all stop reckless eyeballing. Lean on the heezy when we step up in the heezy. Lean on the leezy, I'm sorry, when we step up in the heezy. So anyway, thank y'all for joining me tonight. And remember, when you know better, you do better, right? When you know better, you do better.